Welcome to the second episode of Change Conversations. Today, our esteemed guest is Sarker Tanvir Ahmed, who's a Global Changemaker 2022 Fellow from Bangladesh. I welcome you, Sarker, and thank you so much for taking out the time to be a part of these change conversations.
Thank you very much.
Sarkar, as you know, Change Conversation is a series of conversations that we have that we look to create inspiration for many youth across the globe. And I think there's nothing better to start this conversation or start the second episode with you who's been working with youth very extensively through your initiative. Before we begin, I think I'd like for you to take some time and introduce yourself and your initiative.
My name is Sarker Tanvir Ahmed, and I am from Bangladesh. And I have completed my honors and masters in economics, and I am going to apply for the scholarship program for higher study abroad. And besides of my academic qualification, I'm a global change maker and Bangladeshi youth activist. And due to my long-standing contribution, in 2021, I got the prestigious Diana Award from UK Royal Family. And my initiative name is the Youth Parliament. And for the Youth Parliament is an organization or international community organization for the youths, a hub of the youth leaders to promote the Sustainable Development Goal 16, peace, justice, and strong institution, and for making the inclusion and impactful society engaging with the youths. And besides of our these kinds of organizational activities, Youth Parliament is now working in socially and leadership-based training too. And we have taken a lot of projects like the Model Youth Sarker Hub with the South Asian youths and D8 Youth Conference, a conference for the D8 countries, and especially hub for the India and Bangladesh youths called India Bangladesh Youth Assembly. And all our this motive and our related to goals is a wise, because our goal and our motive is directly linked up to the wise vision of two founding fathers of India, Mahatma Gandhiji and Bangladesh Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, that is peace. And I hope so, we are working on the right track to promote their ideologies.
Thank you so much for sharing. And I think just also building that connect that Bangladesh and India has had, and just taking those two names, I think that you've established a beautiful connection and how they actively talk about just spreading peace and creating those youth leaders as well, right? I think I know that you've been working with youth extensively for over a year through Youth Parliament, and it's great to hear the different collaborations and projects that you've taken to generate more voice and empower youth across the globe as well. I think something that's been very intriguing for me to know about your journey is why you started Youth Parliament, and I think that brings to my next question, like, what was that tipping point for you that led you to start Youth Parliament as an initiative? Like, what was the need that you were trying to address through this initiative?
Great. Obviously, I want to share my the starting journey of this initiative, Youth Parliament. The year was 2016, and I was just entered the university first year student. And one day I just seen a report on the national TV that 5 number of young militants attacked in the Holly Artisan Restaurant in Dhaka, the prominent international restaurant, 5-star restaurant. And that time I have seen that including India, Italy, Japan, USA, and many more countries, the peoples have been hostile by them. And all the 5 peoples are young, they are actually misguided, misled from their teacher, university teacher actually. This is a more key points to build up my network. And that time, one boy named is Faraz Ayaz Hussain. He's from Bangladesh, but unfortunately he was there with his 2 foreign friends. And the terrors, that means the 5 young terrors, release him, that please you may go now. But Faraz Ayaz Hussain committed to his friends, foreign friends, and say, no, I don't want to go. And if you please release them, then I want to go with them, because they are my friends and my guests, so they believe me. And unfortunately, this is the harsh reality where the young generation of Bangladesh and seeing the next morning, along with his friend, he also killed by the 5 militants. And this is a coin of 2 opposite sides. One is positive, one is negative. So I personally inspired the story. This is the incident centric of youth centric incident, and one is positive, one is negative, and I inspired from the positive side that have been created by the Faraz Ayaz Hussein by devote his life to his to prove his courage, his belief in things, and how he is trustworthy to the others. And this is the nature of Bangladesh, that we don't actually want like the communal activities or any violence-based activities. So that time I thought that yes, this is the right time, so that I can take an initiative that is called a youth parliament, for making this group of the targeted people, that means the young generation, to keeping away them these militancy activities and making them the positive direction to the social impact, and make them the civic responsibilities opportunities by giving training, workshop, international exchange based activities like India Bangladesh Youth Assembly, like these kinds of things, and make them the future generation of parliament for practicing model parliamentary practice. And I personally believe that a citizen is not above the rule, and he have, if he is under the rule or a territory of the legal way, that is the constitutional rights, then he or she is the main protector to all the rights reserved for him or herself. So this is my work to actually encourage them and contribute is 16 for making them value, create the value of democracy, diplomacy, the courage, the constitutional aspects, the rule and law. And I believe that if a person or if a young generation at this age, these kinds of activities like the law, legal activities, or knowing them the proper law, food and consumer rights acts, like the national flag acts, if we give them the opportunity to learn, then they will never be deployed, divert any kinds of mislead community to the terrible attack like Holy Artisan that we have seen in 2016. And in 2018 till now, we are working for promoting these kinds of things to make the positive impact in the society.
Thank you so much, Sarker, for sharing that. I think every time I hear you share the story, I think I'm always taken aback, and I know with the amount of passion and resilience that you've been working towards it. I know it's a story of brotherhood and courage that you've shared that led you to actually start this initiative, and how actively you've been able to do it. I know you've been doing a lot of workshops, a lot of training, providing opportunities to youth, giving them, educating them, making them more aware about the different constitutional rights within Bangladesh and how they can play an active role as leaders of the future with the government, and actually act as partners to the government rather than revolt against them. I think with that, I would really like to know a little bit about like what have been certain success stories for you that you've been able to create in the last few years of working on the initiative along these lines that you've just shared that your initiative works toward.
So before sharing our inspirational story or achievement story, just I want to share with you some of our the project that we have taken, and we are working on it. And recent times you have that you mentioned that education and learning process is actually, yes, this is one of the key roles to practice the leadership and civic citizenship. So from my side, on behalf of the Youth Parliament, I personally write the letter to the government for permitting us to conduct the workshop of my district's 5 schools, and around per school we have completed train them, also making them the hub of the inspirational stories of us. Minimum 30 individual institution. This is now working on, we are actually, our project basis on promoting the national flag rules of Bangladesh in 1972, also the national anthem rules, and most important thing is to make them aware about the constitutional rights that we have seen, you have told, and the workshop on the parliamentary rules of procedure or parliamentary democracy. This kinds of projects are now working. And previous year, from my youth parliament, the special hub that called the Model Youth Sarker Hub, we are working to practice the South Asian youths as a model diplomacy practice. And that time, I personally invite the Honorable President of Mauritius and Honorable Foreign Minister of former foreign minister of Maldives, Dunia Mamun, and former ambassador of Government of India, Excellency Anil Trigunaji, all present and inspire our youths. And this is our one of the success stories, that a country, Bangladesh, a small country, and they are trying to build up a hub of the neighbor youths and giving them the opportunity. This is our more inspirational thing, that working with them. And recently, if I want to share with the success stories, that along with this Diana Award, and personally, I, along with our General Secretary, Mr. Vivek Moore, have achieved the Duke of Edinburgh's International Award from UK Royal Family. And recently, though my queen, that means our queens, the Queen Elizabeth II, passed away, but before his passing from us, 5 days before I joined her, operate under her patronage, Queen's Commonwealth Trust, that means QCT Network as a Commonwealth Youth Leader. And this we have also achieved the National Hero Award, and given by the Honorable Social Welfare State Minister of Bangladesh. This is our little experience sharing of our achievements in this running year. Actually, hopefully we will do for the betterment, but we are not working for the recognition, we are working for the betterment of the society, for the good deeds of the society.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Sarker. I think some of these even I was not aware of. I think it's been long that we spoke about the different success stories that you've been able to achieve from the time you started the fellowship, and it's barely been like 3 months. I think it was great for you to share that as well. And I know that you shared a lot of these success stories, the scope of how your projects have like unfolded in the last few years of your working through this initiative, right? Like, can you also throw some light on like how many different youths you've been working on? What is the network like that you're engaging with right now, and what has been some of their key learnings being associated with Youth Parliament?
Actually, we have started from Bangladesh, but we have a huge connection with the 24 nations globally, along with the South Asian countries, D8 countries, and outside of this hub actually. So I personally think that I have observed that their motive and the well did for the society's approachment to engaging with any civil society organizations or any independent or IGO network. They are willing to work, but sometimes the misunderstanding things by getting the certificate or recognition or the personal promotional banner like the social media promotional is the key barriers for me. I have observed, because we are doing the outing activities as a volunteer too, though I am a volunteer of World Scouts movement. And but nowadays I have seen that the youths are now really want to work for the society, because they are practicing their rights, and they are more about the social responsibilities. And during the time of my initiative, 2018 till now, my key area to working with them, firstly, I actually identified their problems. The main problems of my society is they don't want to practice the political movement, any political parties, but they want to give their votes to others. So this is the contradictory things of individual. So if you want to vote any person, but without the democratic value or parliamentary respectness, it does not be a fruitful society for the upcoming generation to follow your character or your individuality. But sometimes that the guardians also think that youth parliament, oh my God, right? The parliament, that means that yes, it is any special hub or branch of any political parties. But no, we are out of the political sense, but we have the political respect to all. We're practicing the good advocacy too. And during the time of this fellowship, connecting Dream Foundations, offering the fellowship, I think that the opportunity and collaboration is one of the key things that is needed to make more impact in the society. And though I am a president of my initiative, but I am not above the opportunity taker by you, that I individually know all the things. And that I realized after selecting this process and joining the interview session and also the workshop too, because the CDF, the fellowship program, give me all the things. Like if I want to mention that how to report writing, then how to make your business or entrepreneurships challenging factors, SWOT analysis, the data analysis, social communication, behavior. That main thing is that I hear you and your team, also the session facilitators, the positive attitude to us is very friendly. And working with any organization, this is the main thing to understand and want to go with the right track. And the main thing that I am very eagerly to learn, and already you provided the opportunity to learning your session. That is, here I know that who is boss and who is a leader, because a boss is always individual centric, but CDF always try to use the words we, not I. So this is the main thing, that as a founder of the organizations, we actually connected here, and for the global communication and the global collaboration as the sustainable development goal stakeholders, and to promote the SDGs 17 too, by partnership and collaboration together. And I think the CDF is on the right track, and they're proving by giving us the opportunity, and we are actually the beneficiaries one to make our organization more fruitful, and it is now working easier than the before.
Thank you so much, Sarker, for those kind words. I think that's just very, very kind of you. Thank you so much, and I'm glad that that's the experience that you've been having through the fellowship journey. I know somewhere you mentioned that there's this conundrum that you find yourself in, where these days youth is passionate about working and giving back to the society, engaging in different activities, different these parades and these march. But when it comes, or they're more keen about voting for the right person, but when it comes to being the one to lead the change, you often find yourself in a flux, and it comes not just from the youth, but also at times from their guardians, because there's this stigma that's attached to being affiliated to a political party, right? More often, and I think it might be true across the globe, not just necessarily in Bangladesh, to so to speak of, right? And this is one of the biggest struggle, because you're working in youth parliament, you're talking about these things, you're conducting these conversations. How have you seen yourself overcome these different challenges while working with youth, specifically on this aspect of mindset shift?
You actually got the right point. And also the institutional heads, the principals or the primary or the headmasters, the head teachers, or also they are not encouraging us, they are also discouraging their students. But one thing I have seen, that all the students, that means the grassroots level students, are very active to eagerly to learn, but there are no opportunities they are not taking. So this is the responsibility, or not as the individual or as an organization like the youth parliament or CDF. This is the responsibility of the government, but we are working to reach them out by our taking our initiatives. Like yes, we know that the COVID phenomena is changed the world, all the activities of any organization, but now it is now going to be stable. So outing activities is the key source of any organizations to promote their vision. So we are now taking this opportunity, grab the opportunity, and our team members and our leaders individually doing their constituency with schooling process, so that individually, yes, we won, but our voice should be to cover up the A school or A institution. Huge margin we have covered. And one thing that we are now going to take the action by the permission of the government, that is the every institution, we are going to make a committee by leading the teachers under their guardianship. There will be their students will be there. But basically, besides of these kinds of things, to make them the aware of youth parliament, so that they can actually positively think that we are not like these kinds of ISI or like this militant group or any political group. We are giving them many opportunities to join any competition like debate, like poster making competition, free speech competition, leadership training. And our 30th September is our National Youth Parliament Assembly. We will organize this by Zoom. This is one another our achievements list. So all the things we are actually want to make the youth parliament reliable to them, to understand that what they are now thinking on it. So that's why I think that this is a social phenomena. Obviously, we need the cooperation of the guardians too, but individually we're trying to do it. So we need some time, but one day, inshallah, 2030, our global agenda, we will make sure to achieve it. And last thing is that our vision, if it will be collaboratively doing, then my vision is to organize a youth parliament assembly that the richest countries are organizing the youth parliament in the main parliament room. So why not Bangladesh? Why we will be give back or left behind all the youth? So this is our main goal, to actually to promote this goal by our government and reach the Honorable Prime Minister that yes, Honorable Prime Minister, this is a voice. We're the voice of the community. We're the breeze of society, and you please give us the chance to feel like the statesman or the member of parliament of your the country, so that our young generation will be inspired, and the social misconcept that we are not we are from the political parties, that will be easily removed.
Thank you so much again for sharing. And I think like you've beautifully identified a solution to your problem, right? Where you're saying that youth and guardians are often finding themselves like in this conundrum that we're not sure if you're associated, or is there something wrong that my child is getting involved in, just addressing it along with the school system, along with the institutions, by arranging these mini workshops like debate competitions. Okay, let's create this awareness through a poster making, like just catering to different learning styles, different interests. And I think this in itself is very, very beautiful. And I think you've tried to also accommodate yourselves with the given COVID scenario as well. And like, how can you also do it virtually? And I wish you all the best, not just for the assembly that you're going to conduct in September, but also that you're able to do
Right.
like this youth parliament in your parliament at Bangladesh itself. Wishing you all the best for it. And I think with that, it's just sinking in very beautifully to my next question, right? I know you work with youth, be it at schools, be it at colleges, be it younger generations, that you're directly working with them, right? You're working towards
Right.
changing their mindsets, empowering them, and making them the leaders of the future through these initiatives, projects, conversations. I think, according to you, like, what do you think is the role of youth, or how do you see youth being the one creating sustainable and scalable impact for the future? Like, how do you see them doing that in say years to come?
Yes, obviously, if there is no problem, there is nothing they use the words of solve. So in the society, there is a lot of problems. So that our solution is the very, very easy solution taken by the United Nations and all the countries. That is the Sustainable Development Goal. Why the Sustainable Development Goal is different than the Millennium Development Goal? It is one thing. This is the one point key point that make the two things different. That is the stakeholdership, ownership of the Sustainable Development Goal. And United Nations categorically categorize 11 community peoples or sectors like children, indigenous peoples, women, youth, workers. Like this, they are the partner of the Sustainable Development Goal. And I think, as I believe, that if we are the citizen of this world or any countries, then it is our responsibility to make our home clean, to make our environment too much clean. So if the environment and if our actions are related to for the social impact, then Sustainable Development Goal and the stakeholdership, without the two things, that we can't do anything, or our action will not be fulfilled, because we have to do many more things. And my suggestion and my expectation to the youth like that, do much better things as you have your own ability to make an exemplary story for the next generation to follow. And I hope so. For the positive change, if we want to change the positive things, then we have to change the positive attitude to the all. and make already friends to all. And I hope so. It's my expectation to the youths that obviously they can do the large thing with unitedly teamwork, not by holding an autocratic manner. They will be practice their democratic behavior by instead along with the civic responsibilities too.
Thank you so much. And I think just the message that you've stated, right? Like just having the positive attitude around the world will lead to positive change. And I think just working together is how we would be able to achieve things a lot more faster and together and for each other, right? Thank you so much for sharing that. I think Sarker, your journey has been beautiful in itself. You're doing great work in Bangladesh. And I know that you've been actively trying to collaborate with different other countries around Bangladesh as well, and especially in the Southeast Asian region. You're actively empowering youth across, and I wish you all the best, and also to Youth Parliament, that they're able to expand their network globally and not just to Southeast Asia. And I think just coming towards the end, right, of this conversation, I know you are a part of Global Changemaker Fellowship cohort. You are currently experiencing the fellowship. I also want to understand from you, like, how do you think has the fellowship experience been for you? How do you see it helping you in your leadership journey? And how do you see it helping your initiative in any way possible?
Yes, this CDF fellowship that earlier of my speech already mentioned, that opportunity and technical things and practical things. Actually, CDF, their charter and their training manuals, their facilitation and the session are really helpful for the organization and all the young generation to empower them. And with the organization or organizers as an representative of the social or civil societies, then this technical thing is very much needed to explore our individualities or our skills to empower the youths. And the CDF actually doing the right things for us, and by making their own individual actually different syllabus, and the wonderful session, practical session, and how they're acting their countries, and how actually we are learning from the CDF by visualize their sessions from the documentary that every time they shown, that how the CDF working for the grassroots levels or all the peoples of India, to inspire that also inspire us to work like CDF. And also the technical support and the practical knowledge is very much needed, and the CDF is providing these opportunities that are very easy for us to actually practice the good managerial things and leadership skills to build up our organization strong than before.
Thank you so much for sharing. And if you had to highlight any one key learning that you've learned and you've been able to apply to your leadership journey, what would that be?
That is one quote I want to mention by the Helen Keller, the famous quote that is, alone we can do so little, but together we can do so much.
Thank you so much, Sarker. It was lovely to have this conversation with you and learn about your journey of your initiative and the work that you're doing. And thank you so much for sharing so honestly about your experience as a Global Changemaker Fellow. Wishing you all the best for your journey ahead. And I know we're going to soon be conducting another interview to know more about your impact as well. Thank you so much for joining us for Change Conversations episode 2, everyone. And I hope you can connect with Sarker at any point of time. And if you want to know more about his initiative, connect with him, reach out to us. We will connect you over an email for sure. Thank you so much.